Welcome to week 6. This week you are going to learn a little bit more about MLA format and how to cite. We're going to write a rough draft of your argument paper, and you're going to complete the Theory of Writing 2 by Friday. What I want to do with this little intro video is work a little bit on logical fallacies. So you can see here I've got a quiz, and this is a quiz I used to give to my face-to-face classes. But I thought I'd go through it with you just to kind of give you a sense of a little bit more about logical fallacies. So there was a bank here, and I asked my students to identify what the fallacy was and what the definition was. So let's get started. Number 1. Children who eat blue M&Ms before playing on the playground suffer playground injuries at a 47% higher rate than children who eat only the traditional red, yellow, green, orange, tan, and brown ones. So don't eat the blue ones. That's silly, but it's a classic logical fallacy. This one is something called post hoc, ergo propter hoc. And what this means is, this is Latin, after the thing, ergo, therefore, propter hoc, because of the thing. So the classic case of this is the rooster who wakes up in the morning and crows and sees the sunrise. And the rooster thinks, well, the sun rose after I crowed, so the sun must rise because I crowed. Well, obviously that's not the case. So when you're looking at a cause-effect type of argument, make sure that the effect actually happens because of the cause, not just after. Sometimes people get confused on that. So that's what's happening here. And again, post hoc ergo propter hoc means after the thing, therefore because of the thing, and that's fallacious. Number 2, putting your money into internet stocks is very risky. It's like playing the lottery. As soon as you see the word like, think about it. There's a comparison, right? There's a comparison here of putting money into stocks and the lottery. So that's an analogy, isn't it? So this is an example of a false analogy. And the definition of a false analogy is when someone thinks that because two things are alike in a certain way, they must be alike in all ways. Well, you can see that putting money into stocks is risky, and so is playing the lottery. They both involve money, but they're not alike in all ways. The lottery is utter chance, and stocks, there's some strategic thinking that goes on there. So it's fallacious to say that they're alike in all ways. Number 3, if Congress imposes a 1 gun a month buying limit, soon law-abiding hunters will face restrictions on the ownership of common sporting rifles. You hear this one a lot, right? So this is in the form of an if-then statement. If this happens, then that's going to happen. And remember the picture of the slippery slope that we did last week. There's a guy at the top of the slope, and it's gravelly, and if he takes one step, boom, 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 he's going to be all the way at the bottom, right? So that's what's happening here. If this happens, Congress imposing the buying limit, the gun limit, then that's going to happen. Is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? Probably not. So that's fallacious when someone says, well, if this is going to happen, then for sure that's going to happen. Make sense? Number 4. The argument that flag burning must remain legal to safeguard freedom of expression honors a valuable principle. So this is defending flag burning. We should be able to burn our flag because it's freedom of expression. But most defenders of this position are the same unpatriotic protesters who show up to public hearings to chant loudly and complain about every government policy, from the conviction of Mumia Abu-Jamal to the logging of rainforests. Well, you could have put almost anything in the second part. But as soon as you start attacking people for what they believe, that's ad hominem. Okay? You're attacking the person. This is another Latin one. Hominem. Right? And actually, anything that you ever type in a foreign language should be italicized. So I probably should go up here. This one should be italicized also. So here you're attacking, they're the same kind of people. That's attacking it's stereotyping, but it's also attacking the person and not looking at what is logically happening with the burning of the flag. Does that make sense? I'll put this one on the next page here. All right, this one I think is the easiest to identify. When you reduce something to just two options, love it or leave it, you're committing, anybody know? Either or reasoning, and that's fallacious. Certainly, if you don't love America, it doesn't mean you have to leave America, right? Duh. 6. Those who question the nutritional quality of fast food like McDonald's serves are clearly in error, since statistics show that the average American eats McDonald's at least once a week, and the company serves 192 million people a week worldwide. All right, so here we have, this is a classic. Anyone want to take a guess? Does the number of people who eat at McDonald's have anything to do with the nutritional quality of their food? Not really. So these two are often interchangeable, red herring and non sequitur. So the red herring, remember, is when the classic case is a criminal is escaping from prison and he's running away and the dogs are behind him and he's running away, but was smart. He stuck fish in his pockets before he left, so the dogs are smelling the fish, and he's running to throw the dogs off his scent. He throws the red herrings to the right. A herring is a fish, by the way. Throws the fish to the right, and he runs off to the left, and he can escape. So a red herring is when you try to divert people's attention with something that sounds kind of interesting, right? So they're trying to divert the attention away from the nutritional quality argument by talking about how many people eat at McDonald's, but really has nothing to do with it. And when something has nothing to do with something else, that's a non sequitur, which in Latin translates to does not follow. They have nothing to do with each other. Number 7, almost done. In response to the Obama 2012 campaign ad that asked women to vote like your lady parts depend on it, conservative radio talk show host Rush Limbaugh asked the other day, where are the feminazis on this? Well, as soon as you use a word that involves Nazis, you are guilty of, unless you're actually talking about Nazis, real Nazis, emotionally charged language. So emotionally charged language is when you use language that's so emotional that people will react to it emotionally and not look at the logic of it or the evidence of it. Emotion is very, very strong. So it's good to use, but you always, if you're using it, you want to back up your emotional appeals with logic, with evidence. If it's just emotion, then it's emotionally charged, and that's fallacious. Last one. This one's kind of long. What's wrong with buying term papers? Most students only resort to buying them because they realize that the system is rotten. The term paper itself has become a farce in the eyes of the students, since they're required to go through the mechanical motions month after month of putting things tediously down on paper, writing correct sentences, organizing their paragraphs, thinking up arguments to use in all those rituals. Surely you aren't going to claim that that's education. Well, this one, I already have the answer, sorry, is the same as up above. These two are very similar. This whole mess down here has nothing to do with what's logically wrong with what's wrong with buying term papers. So it's either a red herring or it's a non sequitur. So that's a quick overview. Hopefully that helped a little bit. Look for logical fallacies in your counter arguments, the opposing position's arguments, the counter arguments, so you can refute them and say, look, that argument's not good because of this logical fallacy. And that'll make your argument even stronger. So if you have any questions, let me know. Have a great week. Take care.